fourth year students or senior students. Now we are going to check your pretest on forest genetics, tree improvement, and forest biodiversity. So I'm going to explain the correct answers for each item. Okay, so let's start. First, first question, what is the DNR Administrative Order number 25? So, the correct answer here is the NIPA's Implementing Rules and Regulations. So, one technique, one very important and basic technique sa pag-answer aning mga multiple choice type ng mga questions is to go through or to check or to observe the choices. So nato gitawag nga elimination. So sa imong choices, mag-eliminate ka na hangtod magamay na lang dayon ng choices nga mabilin. Then dato na dayon ka magpili sila hawa aha ang correct answer dadto. So imo siyang i-relate nimo siya sa question or unsay gi-describe sa kana nga question. So diri it's DNR Administrative Order number 25. NIPA's law is not a DAO. This is a Republic Act. Bioprospecting law and CBFM law are executive orders. So kung mayroon kag DAO, kung diri sa imuhang choices, the obvious one is the NIPA's Implementing Rules and Regulations, because always remember that implementing rules and regulations are usually carried out or are done through Department Administrative Order, or mga kuan sila enabling ang implementing rules and regulations or ato ang IRR. Then next, we have the marine ecosystem. Littoral refers to shoreline, while pelagic refers to an ocean. So, this is not a question. I think this is a bonus item, kay nakastate na dira ang correct answers. So, murag ang kuana niya is blank ni siya diri, and then blank diri, So, I think this is the bonus one. But then, if you still select the correct answer, so, ka-score gyapon na gyapon score kay think wala pa ni nakita or basig nakita na. So yes, littoral zone or near shore is the part of a sea or lake or river that is close to the shore. So hence mo na shoreline. While the pelagic zone occurs in the open sea or simply refers to an ocean. Mao nang inyong timan-an. Okay? The next, what is described as the world's smallest monkey? So, kung ma-recognize ninyo, tanan na rin scientific names, so kabalogid mo sa answer. So, if elimination round sa ato ang wildlife, kaning Bufo marinus inyuhang una ma-eliminate. But then, wala man mo ka-recognize kaayo aning duha. The Philippine tarsier and Bufo marinus only. So kinahanglan gid ni siya og naagid kay na background knowledge ani familiarization or even gamay lang kay nga recognition sa scientific names. So the answer for this is Philippine tarsier. Kay kabalo lang ka sa tanan scientific name, it's very obvious because Rana magna is the giant Philippine frog, Mabuya multicarinata is a skink, while Bufo marinus is also a toad. So ang answer gyud ana, although di ka sure kung world's smallest monkey bagyod wa may lain tarsier. So mao na siya ang style sa atong elimination round, pagpalanglitan familiar gid ka sa mga choices. Okay, then here, these are the wildlife found only in the country or in any particular area of the region in the country. So sa elimination round nimo, so exclusive raman daw siya sa isa ka area, X na nimo ang exotic and migrant. Exotic, mao bitong gitawag pud sila introduced species, di ba? Pwede na sila mo occur outside their natural geographic range as well as the migrant species. So diri na lang ka magpili sa endemic or native. But the answer for this is endemic. Endemic are species that are exclusively found in a particular place. Dara lang yun, di na sila makit-an sa lahi pa nga lugar. While ang imuhang compared sa native nga mga species, dili sila nag-originate sa isa ka certain place. But then, they may also occur sa kanang mga adjacent nga mga areas, adjacent sa iyahang natural range or sa iyahang origin. So, makita gyapon na siya. So, ang endemic nimo very exclusive lang yun in a certain area, in a certain place. No? And next, all of the animals found in a given area, of course, fauna. Mayroon kag wildlife, mix man ni flora, fauna, and unsa pa any other microorganisms. Kung mayroon kag population, plant population, human population, animal population. Now, brota, pang pa kuan ra ni no, libog-libog ra ni diri or I think it's the biota. It's not also the kuan kay gi-specify ra man diri nga animals. Okay? So the correct answer for this is fauna. Then here, loss of biodiversity decreases the probability of recovery after significant disturbances or adaptation to changing conditions. The degree to which a system can recover from such a disturbance is a measure of its resilience, di ba? Natay mga mechanisms no sa plants mechanisms to cope up with the changing environmental conditions or environmental extremes. So we have avoidance, escape, resilience, and tolerance ng mga mechanisms. So this is this is a technical term no kung sa ecology. Perseverance, endurance, and integrity, so X na sila. So mabalaan man na nimo no, obvious man dayon na ang correct answer ani. Then next, it's a significant legislation in the Philippine Biodiversity Conservation which establishes the National Policy on Biological Diversity. So elimination, RA 7586 is NIPAS, PD 705 Forestry Reform Code, EO 108 and EO 578. So diri na lang imuhang mo na lang nimong choices. So kaning EO 108 no, this is no sa charity sweepstakes ni siya nga executive order. And the correct answer is this EO 578 no, National Policy on Biological Diversity. Next, NIPAS Act identifies specific categories of protected areas. So, specific categories of protected areas. So, actually, ang answer ani is kuan 8, no? Pila ang gi-identify sa NIPAS nga mga protected areas. But then, sa question, specific categories man. No? Specific categories man sa protected areas. So, kato lang yun mga gipang specify. So, I think the answer for this is 7. 7 naman ka PAs ang gi-specify jud sa law. So, first is strict nature reserve, natural park, natural monument, wildlife sanctuary, protected landscapes and seascapes, resource reserve, and natural biotic areas. Ang ika-8 ana nimo, other categories established by law, conventions, or international agreements which the Philippine government is signatory. So, wala kay siya na-specify. No? So, 7 mo ni mga specific categories no, nga gi-state nato sa balaod. So, careful mo sa mga questions kung unsay gipangayo. Okay? So, tan-awan gyud ninyo, i-check gyud ninyo. Ay basig ang uban, simple lang pagka-state, tricky gyud ay. No? Answer for this is 7. Then, the type of species whose status provides information on the overall condition of the ecosystem and of other species in that ecosystem. So, sa gipangutana, provides information on the overall condition. So, mag-indicate siya. So, the answer for this is indicator species. No? So, na siya kuan ba? Ang presence niya, indication of the status or say for example the diversity of an environment, the diversity of a certain area or forest, or disturbance, level of disturbance, or ang ihapong health, no? So kanang atong mga indicator species mao ni sila ang mo provide og ingana nga mga information sa overall status or overall condition sa isa ka ecosystem and mo affect pod sa uban nga mga species in that ecosystem. endemic species nimo. So di man tanan endemic kay mo provide man ng overall condition sa ecosystem. Flagship on the other hand, kuan ni sila, mura ni sila gigamit ni sila nga mga species as icon no or symbol sa country. Say for example sa Philippines, symbol for conservation is a Philippine eagle, no? Sa uban kanang ilang mga symbol sa ilahang country, may kangaroo, uban pa nga mga eagles, no? So inana siya flagship species. Endangered species, so dili man pud na tanan endangered, no, mo indicate po or mo provide og information sa overall condition sa sakap area. Next, surveys show that in undisturbed dipterocarp area there are about 30,000 to 100,000 wildlings per hectare. After a seed year, about 20% of these stay dormant. And what is the number of dormant wildlings available if the mortality is 20%? So the answer for this is 4,800. Okay? 4,800. Next, how much will you pay for a wildlife collector's permit provided for under DAO 9829? So, wildlife collector's permit, no, sa imo IRR nimo sa imong wildlife act man eh. So kinahanglan basag ito nimo ma-familiarize nimo, no, pilay payment sa kaning mokuha og wildlife collector's permit, no. So the answer is 1,000 pesos. Barato ra pud kay na imuhang 50 pesos or bisan pang mga kuan dili mga researcher or usa pa na ilahang mga ilahang purpose ana for collection makabayad ana, no, 250 no 150 dili pod, it's 1,000 pesos. Then the biological clock enabling plants to adjust their metabolism to seasonal fluctuation is, so imong tanawon diri mutation is not a biological clock, association not, and even natural selection layo ra kaayo, no, layo ra kay sa gina-describe. So when you are when you are talking about clock, or it has something to do with time, or it has something to do with period, so naaman diri mong keyword photoperiodism. The answer is photoperiodism. Photo, adjusting metabolism to seasonal fluctuation. Photoperiodism. Okay? Next, the following statements are true. Forest benefits are of value at all stages of economic development. True, true na siya. Forest can provide an important and sustainable base for rural development. True. A well-managed forest can respond to changing demand. True gihapon. So the answer is 1, 2, and 3. All statements are true. Next, blank species are those that germinate and establish seedlings only in highly disturbed environments. So, kani daw sila ra daw ang mo survive or sila ray mo turok ana or sila ray mo tubo ana, no, sa mga highly disturbed nga mga environment. So wala na lain ana nga makakuan na maka-survive ana nga mga environmental extremes. So answer ani niya is the pioneer species. May kag pioneer. Pioneer ba? Pioneer species. Pioneer. So, murag kung sa ato ang ecological succession or sa atong ecology, these are the kanang first mga plant species or plants that occur in a certain area. So sila gyud na say wala jud na sa una gyud, wala gyud bare gid kayo siya, and then kani nga mga plant species mao ning pinakauna nga nitubo dadto na area, mao nang pioneer, diba? Sa uban unsay gamit nimo sa mga pioneer, kung sa mga organization ka ng mga founder, no, mga pinakauna nga nakuan ba ni join ana or nag founder ana siya ng organization. So pioneer species, these are the first group of plants or species sa plants nga mo-occur sa isa or motubo or mo-survive sa isa ka area. And these pioneer species are the only species nga maka-germinate and maka-establish og seedlings in highly disturbed environments. Okay? Next, The study of the evolutionary relationship of organisms using both fossils and modern living representatives of a group of species. So, dili tanawon nimo ha. Taxonomy is the general study of the classification, the naming of organisms, the identifying of organisms. Di ba sa taxonomy na siya? So, X, dili siya apilaan ng wala siya ni-relate no sa gi-describe sa question. Classification on the other hand, no? Classification, mag-classify man kaana. No, mag-classify kaana sa mga plants or organisms based sa characteristics nila. No? Sa characteristics nila. And then, dendrology, the study of trees. So, wala kay lain, isa na lang imuhang choice, that is systematics. Systematics, pumuin kag systematics, it has something to do with evolutionary relationship. And not just that, kuan po dayon genetics, no? Genetics and evolutionary relationship, no? Dara na siya mo kuan sa systematics nato. Okay? So, the answer for this is systematics. Next, it is generally microscopic worm-like animals that live saprophytically in water or soil as parasites of plants and animals. So, elimination. Fungi is not a worm-like animal. Diba? Di na siya worm-like. Fungi gani. Mycoplasmas, kani kay bacteria ni siya. If naalang kay kuan, bacteria ning mycoplasmas. Hosts, so X na daan ng host. O obvious kayo ang gipangayo baya kay parasite. Parasite unya, host lugar mga answer, no? So, sa lugar na, no? Kung bisan pang magpataka ka, dapat bright na kay basihan kung nuwagid ka kabalog answer, dapat na kay basihan ana nga makuha nimo imuhang ang correct answer. Kay na kay 25% chance nga makakorek, no, na kay upat tabi kag choices diha. So, dapat kuan tsada pud kag technique ba, no, aron duol-duol jud kas tinuod or mahit gyud nimo ang correct answer. So, dili na daaning hosts, no? Kay parasite na gud ang gipangayon niya, mo answer kag hosts. The answer for this is the nematodes. Okay, the nematodes. Next, this pertains to all of the plants found in a given area. So, plants na po, this is flora. Balamantaan na, flora. Fauna for animals. Then, which of the following was created to consolidate government efforts to conserve biological diversity in the Philippines? So, mani siya na kuan pa, no? But karon, this is already Biodiversity Management Bureau. Sa PDS 705 na to, this is PAUB or Parks and Wildlife Bureau. So, naanay keyword, biological diversity. Biological diversity, no? Wildlife. So, di man siya sa environmental management, di po siya sa research, di po siya sa mines. Okay, so, naadiri sa Parks and Wildlife Bureau. Wildlife Act is jointly implemented by the following government agencies except Department of Agriculture, Tourism, DNR, Palawan Council for Sustainable Development. So, imong mag-eliminate ka diri except nang gipangayo. So, Department of Agriculture, check. Department DNR, of course. Palawan Council for Sustainable Development, yes. Ang wala nga ni na link nga agency ani is the Department of Tourism. Okay, so the answer for this is Department of Tourism. Next, this refers to species or subspecies which have actual or potential value in trade or utilization for commercial purpose. Take note ha to get the keywords sa inyuhang question. Ang question niya, ang iyang phrase diri potential value in trade, no, in market or imo siyang sold nimo siya sa market, no, trade, potential value in trade. Critically endangered species, ma-trade ba din nimo? Right? No, right? Endangered species samot, no? Kaning endangered, mas grabe pa gani ini pag mo grabe na gani ang decrease ani sa number of individuals sa kaning species, mupadulong na siya critically endangered species. Endemic species, dili tanan endemic species potential value in trade. So the correct answer for this is obviously economically important species. Economically important sila kaya na sila potential value in trade, no? Na siya. Next, this refers to the illegal taking of wild plants or animals contrary to local and international conservation. I-zoom out. International conservation and wildlife management laws. So, kani siya diri no? Pwede gid ang inyong ma-answer ani hunting or illegal harvesting, but then iyang gi-describe illegal taking of wild plants or animals, no? Kaning manggod siya, nga kaning definition ani. Nagyo na siya technical term. Okay? Kaning nga technical term is the term poaching, no? Illegal taking of wild plants or animals contrary to local and international conservation and wildlife management laws. So, exploitation, hunting, illegal harvesting, so kani sila generic or general ra kayo. The technical term for this is poaching. Okay, timanan na siya ang poaching nga term. Next, which of the following is the main strategy for protecting and conserving biodiversity in the Philippines? Main strategy for protecting and conserving biodive sa Pilipinas. Establishment ba sa botanical gardens? Naipas ba? Gene banks ba? Arboreta. So, ang imuha aning makita, no, obviously, sa wildlife na subject, no, familiar naman gid mo sa importance sa protected area system. Protected area good, no, na ana dihay keywords. So, the answer is establishment of a protected area system. Next, a biogeographic region, okay, nakunan ang answer. A biogeographic region that is both a significant reservoir of biodiversity and is threatened with destruction from humans. So, the answer is biodiversity hotspots. May ka biodiversity hotspots. Kani nga mga region or kani nga mga areas nga mega diverse gid kay. Grabe ang biodiversity niya or rate niya sa biodiversity ani nga area. But then, threatened po siya, no, sa human exploitation. Mo nang gitawag nga biodiversity hotspots. Grabe lagi ka diverse pero grabe po ang threat, no? So, grabe po ang threat to loss or exploitation, no, or destruction. Biodiversity hotspots. Critical watershed nimo, very specific. Mega diverse regions, dili pod, no? Protected areas, dili man na siya makuan, no? Protected gani kay bawal ang exploitation or destruction ana nga mga areas. Next, which of the following is the level of biodiversity that refers, excuse me, okay, let's continue. So, next, which of the following is the level of biodiversity that refers to the variation of communities in an area? So, ang imong keyword, variation, diversity of communities. So, daghan kay nga communities in an area. Ecosystem ba, genetic, species, or none of the above? Sa imong ecological level of organization, magsugod kag species or organisms or individuals. Humanana, after ana niya, a group of species or group of individuals no interacting and competing for resources. So, naakay na ma-form dayon nga population. And then with this population, no, isa ka population, so it's a group of species or organisms. Another population is another group of organisms. For example, human population and then animal population. If these two will interact with each other, no, mag-interact, ang sunod na nga level is community, no? So, daghan na kag community, and with that communities or variation of communities, next level of that is ecosystem. So, the answer for this is ecosystem diversity. Variation of different communities in an area man. So, ecosystem diversities. Mo species palugar ka nga communities man ang gina-refer. Dili po genetic, right? So, the answer is ecosystem diversity. Next, it is the function of biodiversity that refers to its ability to provide various productive benefits. The keyword is productive. So, provisionary ang iyahang function ani. So, the answer is production functions, di ba? Carrier, no. Information, wala. Regulation dili pod kay mag-provide man siya, no. Provisionary man, so production functions is the correct answer. Next, which of the following functions of biodiversity refers to the maintenance of the delicate balance between ecological processes? Carrier, X. Information, no. Production, kabalo naman ka. So, the answer for this is regulation functions. So, for example, kanang microclimate regulation, soil environment nga regulation of plants. So, inano na siya, no? Regulatory ang iyahang function sa ecosystem or ecological processes. Okay? So, correct answer for this is regulation functions. Next. So, this is a generic term for several ways in which plants can be used to clean up contaminated soils and water. Keyword ani, plants, clean up contaminated soils and water. So, muna yung keyword. So, the answer is phytoremediation. Kay plants lang man. Di-specify nga tanom lang. Dili siya bioremediation or biodegradation kay specify nga plant. So, the answer is the phytoremediation. Phyto means plants. Remediation, dayon, sumpay. Phytoremediation. It's not photoremediation. Next, a diversity pattern caused by random forces. So, kani random forces. Stratification, dili ni siya pattern based sa random forces. Nani siya gina-follow. Diba stratified ba na? Strata or stratum, stratified na siya. Zonation pod, napod na siya ginakuan na napod siya anay gina-follow na sa pattern niya. Say, if sa zonation mo na ma-create isa ka zone, so nanay mga characteristics, no, sa kana nga zones nga naara diha dili makita sa lahi pa nga zones. Aggregation, clustering man ni siya. The answer for this, no, caused by random forces is stochastic. Muna siyang answer nato. Okay? The next, this taxonomic group of animals are also known as cartilaginous fishes. Kani siya, kinanglan makakuan mo sa mga kanang keyword ani niya, no, na gyud mo knowledge ani ma-familiar lang mo gamay basta naalam mo yung mga keyword ba nga makuha. So, sa kani nga mga taxonomic grouping. So, cartilaginous, agnatha. Kung agnatha, kuan ni siya pasabot ani jawless, no, mga jawless nga fishes. Ichthyai, chondrichthyes, ichthyes, ichthyes. Osteichthyes, lahi pod ni siya, no, sa kuan ni siya bones. Cartilaginous or cartilage, no, nga mga fishes with cartilage or cartilaginous fishes. So chondrichthyes, no, mo ni siya ang iyahang group of animals. Chondrichthyes. Next, this taxonomic group of animals are also known as jawless fishes. So eliminate na nimong chondrichthyes. The answer here is the agnatha. Okay? And kani siya bony, from the word bone, osteichthyes. Wala ning osteophytes, kani siya sa kuan maguni sa bone gud bitaw sa imuhag yung bukog ba, murag lump siya, mo siya osteophytes. This is not a taxonomic group of animals, no, pangpalibog-libog na sa inyo. So osteichthyes, okay, kay ay mo nang eliminate ang agnatha, napay chondrichthyes. Sa osteichthyes nimo napagid kay keyword which is bone or bony, no, osteichthyes. Then next, refers to species and subspecies of wildlife found only in one particular area or few areas in the Philippines. No, so kani siya sa first nimo pagbasa siguro nimo, it's either endemic ni or native. But tanawan nimo sa choices, sabto nimo true ang question, no, found only in one particular area or few lang few areas in the Philippines. So ang answer ani R is rare nga species. Rare kaysa maihap ra, no, kung aha siya makuan ba, aha siya mo occur, talagsa ra kay siya ma-observe nga mga species. So endangered, dili pod, insufficiently known, no, we have the technical term rare species, dili pod siya threatened, and dili pod vulnerable. Okay, the next, this refers to species whose survival is unlikely if causal factors continue operating. So the answer is in the endangered, no, endangered species. Okay, mo na ni siyang i-X daan ang rare. Next, largest population of tarsier can be found in the province of Bohol. Okay, then animal by which is widely recognized as symbol for conservation in the Philippines. So, symbol for conservation, ako na siyang gimension ganina, the Philippine eagle. Bubalus mendorensis is, sa maning Bubalus mendorensis nimo. Bubalus mendorensis kay, muna imuhang dwarf buffalo, imuhang tamaraw, di ba? Tamaraw nimo. Makita sa Mindoro. Flora, animal man, so, di na nadaan. Di na po ni siya game species. So, dili po siya game species lang, no. Kay murag, dili man tanan game species. No, gisimbol na siya for conservation sa country. So, it's the Philippine eagle. Ay, murag, lahi ang choices ani, no, sa kuan. Pre-test ninyo is the wildlife. Pero amo ang correct, no, ang answer. Okay. Next, refers to wildlife species that are introduced or not native, o introduced siya, dili siya native sa isa ka locality. Obviously, the exotic. Biogeography, dili na siya species. Endemic, di man po na kuan ng endemic, kuan raman na siya, exclusive sa isa ka area or sa uban areas adjacent sa iyahang kuan, natural range or iyang origin. Indigenous, dili pod, resident, dili pod. So, introduced, correct answer for this is the exotic. Next, term for all wildlife species that is native to the locality. O, tanaw, basahon ni mugtarong, all wildlife species that is native to the locality. So, iyang collective term, no? So, the answer is, kay di ba na kay species nga endemic, na kay species nga native, no? So collective term ana niya is indigenous species. indigenous species. Mungkin sa indigenous species, it's either endemic na siya or native species. So, exclusive sa isa ka area, pero ang uban ana mo occur sa mga uban pod nga area, especially kanang adjacent sa yahang natural range or yahang natural geographic range, no, yang origin. Okay, so collective term ani or term for all wildlife species, endemic or native wildlife species kay indigenous. Next is the ability of an individual to reproduce and multiply in an optimum condition. Optimum condition o optimum. So, fecundity, no. Fertility, kung na maka-answer ani, so maka-diretso lang mo, no. Kung kasaran ninyo basahon bitaw, diretso ra mo o answer of fertility. But, diri in an optimum condition. So, carrying capacity, dili pod. The answer is the biotic potential. Okay, biotic potential. Next, the pawikan is an endangered species that belongs to reptilia. Reptilia na siya. Pawikan nimo or imuhang sea turtle, it's a reptile. Dili na siya mammals because these animals do not lay eggs, no? So, di na siya pareha sa kuan. Mammals, do not excuse, sorry. Mammals do not lay eggs as in the case of pawikan. No, so reptilian na siya nga species. Dili siya di siya under mammalia, di siya under apes, dili po siya under primates. Okay, reptilian animal. Okay? Next, it is a basic functional unit where the biophysical and socio-cultural factors interact for the maintenance of life. Very obvious. Plant life, animal life, human life, biological organisms mo interact siya for the maintenance of life, mo interact with the environment. Now, the answer is ecosystem. It's not the habitat. Biotic dipod kayo. Duha ang iyang gi-refer ani. Biotic plus a biotic system, you have ecosystem. Then, scientific name of the Philippine eagle is Pithecofaga jeffreyi. Okay? Kani imong Anoa mindorensis, this is a small buffalo. Small buffalo ni siya sa Mindoro gihapon. Pero katong pubalos, tong tamaraw na to, dwarf buffalo to siya. Then, Chelonia maidas, so sa uban nga naka-familiar, paani nakadumdum, green sea turtle. Then, kaning Apis mellifera. Kaning Apis mellifera. So, the scientific name of Philippine eagle is Pithecofaga jeffreyi. Careful pod mo sa spelling, no? Next, RA 9072 is the National Caves and Cave Resources Management and Protection, while RA 9147 is the Wildlife Act. So, the answer is all statements are true. RA 9072 sa National Caves and Cave Act or Protection Act, while ang RA 9147 kay the Wildlife Act. No? All statements are true. Next, blank is the place where organisms live, while blank are large recognizable community units resulting from interaction between regional climates and regional biota. So, dili pud na siya ingon nga ecosystem, no? Ecosystem ang isa, di pud environment. Very broad kayo yung description for an environment. Dili pud siya environment ang isa, dili pud ni siya ecosystem ang isa. So the answer for this is that biome, habitat is the place where organisms live. Habitat, good. While the biomes are muna silang mga large community units or units nga result from the interaction between regional climates and regional biota, no? Biomes, habitat, and biomes. Next, physical disturbance of the ecosystem disrupt the nutrient cycling mechanism. Highly adapted biological cycles are not susceptible to destruction. So the first statement is true, no? However, the second statement, dili ba yun maapektuhan? Kani atong highly adapted biological cycles are still susceptible to disruption. Always remember, naatay level of disruption or kana gani nga disruption, although highly adapted ni nga mga cycles or biological cycles, pag ang disruption ana pananglitan, mo adto na gani beyond threshold, then maapektuhan jud sila, susceptible na sila sa disruption, no, depende sa level of disruption. Okay, so the answer is first statement is true, second statement is false. Next, the following are the factors to be considered in establishing seed production area. First, prioritization of species. Of course, kay seed production man, pili man ka ana og imuhang mother trees dito ka sources sa imuhang seeds for mass production. Next, appropriate seed growing. Of course. Then, 3, legal consideration. Yes. So these three are the factors, no, kinahanglan i-consider sa SPA or seed production areas. So the answer is 1, 2, and 3. Next, the functional unit of heredity is known as, sa genetics, functional unit of heredity is known as, sa imong kuan diri tanawa sa imong choices, cultivar ba? No. Gene bank? No. Species ba? Dili pod. It's the gene, right? The gene. Next, good mother trees are source of high quality planting material, be it seed or vegetative material, which is not a characteristic of a good mother tree. So, good mother trees daw, no, they are sources of high quality seeds or mga cuttings nimo, no, be it through vegetative or kanang seed materials, no, so naagyo na siya mga best qualities, no, para ma-consider ning imong isa ka kahoy mother tree or a good mother tree. So which is not the characteristics of a good mother tree daw. So, it has a well-balanced ground, of course. So, it depicts good growth, no, ang imuhang well-balanced ground. Next, it is free from pests and diseases, of course. No, who would want kuan man, seeds or mga vegetative material nga gi-sourced out gikan sa mga masakiton nga mga kahoy, di ba? Sa may ganahan gud ana. No? So, remember that the parent material or the kanang imuhang produce, no, will always resemble the parent material, no, although maapektuhan gyud siya sa environment, but it will eventually resemble the parent material, no. Next, it has a good stem form. Of course, dapat straight bole, dapat na ay desirable nga wood qualities or dagko ang punuan, no. So mo na tong ginatan-aw. Then it is limby and shows forking. So, kung gingon ganina, dapat straight bole siya. So, di ka mo pili sa itong bawg-bawg or knife forking ng mga kahoy. So, this is an exception, no? It is limby and shows forking. Okay, this is the correct answer. Next, the following objectives refers to tree improvement. First, assurance of the availability of materials needed. Of course, genetic improvement and cultivation of seed plants. So, seed plants ni siya. Check. Improvement of genetic base of species. Of course, imuhang na maobayang inyuhang subject is forest genetics and tree improvement, no? So, base siya sa genetics or genetic characteristics or status of a species. So the answer is 1, 2, and 3. Next, the method, place, and time of fruit or seed collection affect the growth and spread of microfungi. During rainy season, when relative humidity is high, seed have also low moisture content. So asa ang sayop sa statement? First statement, the method, place, and time of fruit or seed collection affect the growth. Of course, moapekto gyud na siya. During rainy season daw, kung ting-ulan daw, taas daw ang relative humidity. Check, taas gyud na relative humidity kay ting-ulan. Seed have also low moisture content. Sakto ba? Ting-ulan gani, unya nganong low man ang moisture content. Try to analyze. So kani kinahanglan ni siya analysis or critical thinking skills ninyo diha, no? Na mga obvious gani nga mga statements diri nga sayop siya, di siya consistent, no, sa uban pa nga mga gi-describe diha, then tanawon na ninyo tarong basahon gyud ninyo balik. So the answer for this is, first statement is true, second statement is false, no? Kaya nung low moisture content nga ting-ulan man, right? Next, the evaluation of parents by comparing the performance of their offspring. Kani kibasing maglibog mo sa provenance test or sa progeny test. Provenance, parent, progeny sa offspring. Yung pregnancy, sa man yung pregnancy ani, no? Ikaw may i-test ang boros man, wala man na siya apila na. Germination test, dili pod kay germination test or seed viability test man ni siya. So, ay mukhang basahon, no, sabto nimong question, evaluation, i-test daw ang parents. O i-test ang parents but through comparing the performance of their offsprings. So i-test ang parents pero ang niyahang approach or yang mode, ang i-test ana niya gyud is the performance of their offsprings. So kay mao man ni siyang imuhang main gyud nimong kuan, no, imuhang key nga phrase, performance of their offsprings, then the answer is progeny test. Okay, progeny test. Next, one of the tests to determine seed quality is viability test. What is the other test? So seed quality, viability or kaning viability and germination test, pare-pareha sa gyud ni sila, no? Seed quality, seed viability or germination test na siya. Kung mo germinate na siya, that means viable na siya imuhang seed. So the other one is the vigor test. Okay, vigor test. State of being healthy, no, or healthy siya, free from pest and disease, no, sa iyahang pag-develop, no. Next, a blank is an individual organism which is a product of the interaction between a genotype and its environment. Sa inyong genetics, sige ito inyong sa genetics ninyo, sige ining genotype plus environment, sige ni answer ani, sige ni iyahang kuan ni product niya, it's a phenotype, di ba? P is equals to G plus E. So dili kay phenotype lang is equals to genotype, no? So na kay genetic makeup na din kang physical makeup. So genetic makeup plus environment to produce a phenotype or phenotypic makeup. No na gyud na environment oy, inana na siya imuhang phenotype. So sa imuhang genes, sa imuhang imuhang mamang papa, no, dayon sa imuhang genes, dayon maapektuhan dayon sa environment o pananglitan mo na imuhang biological parents unya sa katupaday pagkabata ni more pila ka years, no, today ka sa pananglitan sa imuha ka sa lahi ka nga kuan nagpuyo, no, or pananglitan sa lahi sa lola ka or sa imuhang mga tito or tita ka nagpuyo good after how many years. So dili kay kakuan sa imuhang doon sa imong mga parent kana environment that's an example of an environment nga maka-affect sa phenotype. Pag human-an na, uy, nalahi naman ning dagway, di man naman niliwat siyang mama or siyang papa, naliwat naman sa lain. No, it's basically a joke pero mao na gyud na siya, no, mao na gyud na siya ang murag simple lang gud nga pagsabot nimo, genotype plus environment, phenotype, no. So makaapekto ba gyud, no, gimuhang tan-awon makaapekto na siya kung sa imuha sa tao, no, especially sa kuan sa but joke ra to ha, pero sa uban kung imong i-analyze, genotype plus environment mo apply sa tao, mo apply sa many ang bisag unsa nga mga organisms, inana na siya. So di ka moingon nga sa imuhang mother tree, mo na imong mother tree ay himsog kaayo ni ba, himsog so dire ko makuha og planting material, imo siyang imuhang i-reproduce kay lagi tsada quality. siya lagi quality. So mao na imong source. Sa pagtanom nimo, wala nimo gi-manage og tarong, naulanan na, nainitan, wala lagi nimo gipasagdan kay lagi kuan bitaw na siya sa maayo bitaw ng quality sa kuan iyahang mother tree. Di paganduan na pagkuan mamatay ra. Nato na rin ka mo question og di ka kasabot sa genetic sa kaning kuan no kaning concept naman nimo siya nga react with man siya with the environment. So kinahanglan imuhang i-manage, kinahanglan nga imuhang kuanon, imuhang monitor per me, no? Ahana siya sensitive ba siya sa init, sensitive ba sa grabe nga ulan or sa water stress. So inana na siya, no, genotype plus environment. Phenotype mo na nang ang ipakita sa physical appearance sa isa ka plant. Okay? Then next, we have blank is an organism with or having 3 or more sets of chromosomes. Diploid mo yung kagday, duha. Haploid, excuse me. Okay. So, sa diploid nimo duha, no? Duha, 2 sets of chromosomes, haploid, single set of chromosome, multiloid, wala man ay multiloid. So, ang answer ani is polyploidy. Poly, 3 or more sets of chromosomes. Then, the offspring of genetically different species. So, offspring of genetically different species or genetically different daw. So, the answer is, so exotic, no. Gene pool, no. Answer for this is hybrid, no, hybrid. Dayon, which of the following are areas to be considered for enrichment planting? Enrichment, may kag enrichment planting gani, ang ihaning definition para aware mo, kabalo man siguro mo ni sa inyong silviculture, the introduction of valuable species to degraded nga mga forest. More siya restoration type of planting, no? So, the answer is all of the above ni siya. Which of the following are areas? So, overlogged area, of course. Secondary forest, of course. Areas naturally poor in desirable species. So, mo ni siyang i-test for or ikuan a site for enrichment plantations or plantings. Okay? Next, genetic variation can be estimated directly from genotype. Is it? Ecotype is a product arising as a result of the genotypical response of a population to a definite habitat. The answer is the statement, first statement is false, the second is true. So, dili na siya ingon directly nga mo kaning genetic variation, dili kay direct rin siya sa genotype, no? And the statement, for second statement, it is true. Okay? Next, a collection of selected trees or species established for breeding. Collection ha, cline sa maning cline, wala man ang cline term diri siguro. Clones, collection man siya, collection siya. Okay? Di na siya product or di na siya tawag, produce, no, from breeding. Then additive genes, no, di po siya gene. Ang iyang describe ani, no, a collection of selected trees or species. The answer is breeding arboretum. Next, it pertains to the exploration and gathering of plants and animals from forests and extraction of their biochemical substance. So, sa atong naipas, this is termed as bioprospecting. Okay? Bioprospecting. Next, pertains to the number of offspring a population produces in a unit of time. Birth rate, growth rate, natality rate, or both A and B. The answer, it could be growth rate or natality rate. So, birth rate and natality rate. So, both A and D refers to the number of offspring man a population produces in a unit of time. Both A and D. Next, the product of the cross between individuals of unlike genetic constitution. Unlike. So, katong ganina, giingon, ganito, offspring of genetically different species. Unlike genetic constitution, gilahi lang ni siya. So, the answer is still hybrid, hybrid. It refers to the structural unit in the nucleus that preserve individually from one cell generation to the other. Sa may lain ni nasulod sa nucleus nimo. The chromosome. Next, the group of plants derived from a single individual by asexual reproduction. Asexual asexual, dili siya sexual nga reproduction. Asexual. So ni siya ang ma-derive or produce ani niya sa asexual reproduction. This is the clone, clone. Kani imuhang seer, kuan ni siya sa imong ecological succession. This is a series of kanang mga ecological communities ba nga ma-form or ma-develop, with ecological succession, mga stages niya. Next, the total amount of genetic material within a freshly interbreeding population at a given time. Total amount of genetic material. This is the gene pool. Gene pool. Next, it is the ability of an individual to reproduce and multiply in an optimum condition. Balik siya. Answer is biotic potential. Next, a stand or plantation not originally planted to produce seed but rogued of inferior trees treated to produce large quantities of seeds. Naa kay keyword, key phrase, large quantities of seed not originally planted to produce seed but rogue inferior trees. Answer ani is the seed production area. Wala ilain. Clonal seed orchard, nope. Seedling seed orchard, dili po na siya. This is the seed production area. Iyang aim, mass production of seeds. Next, excuse me. An orchard established from vegetatively propagated trees, usually from grafts. So, kanang mga grafts nimo, dala na siya mabilong sa clonal seed orchard. Okay? Clonal seed orchard. Dili siya seed production X na nimo, dili siya seedling seed orchard, no? That is clonal seed orchard. Next, the original geographic area from which seeds or other propagules were obtained. So, asa gikan. So, we have the term provenance, no? Source nimo mo na imong provenance. Okay? Next, a numerical value expressing the influence of one of the parents on its progeny. So, and a numerical value expressing the influence of one of the parents on its progeny, the answer is the general combining ability. Next, which of the following refers to mating among unrelated individuals? So, may muhang makuan diri, related mating, unrelated gani, selfing, samot, ikaw ramalay na. The answer is outcrossing. Okay, outcrossing. So, maglutaw ra na panagsa, or most of the time, maglutaw ra na ang answer sa questions. Next, a selection method which involved choosing individuals solely on the basis of their phenotypes. Phenotypes. Okay, a selection which involve choosing individuals solely on the basis of phenotypes. The answer is mass selection. Phenotypes ra gyud ang gibasihan. Okay? Next, selection procedure that involves many cycles of selection and breeding. Family within family selection, nope. Tandem, dili kay many cycles man, repeating cycles, so dili tandem, dili pod within family. The answer is the recurrent selection, so repeating cycles of selection and breeding. Okay, recurrent selection. Next, having one or more sets of unlike alleles. Now, the dominant with the recessive alleles. genetics ninyo, sa man na imong kanyo, sa maning A, uppercase A, lowercase a. Heterozygous, diba? Heterozygous, ana siya. Heterozygous. Next, traits largely described as a result from the effect of many genes in a tree's appearance. The answer for this is the dominance trait. Next, the tendency of a tree to maintain a single dominant stem throughout the crown. Always remember this, the apical dominance. Mo na siyang answer, ana. No? A tree to maintain a single dominant stem. It is apical dominance. So, lahi ra gyud, no? Layo ra kaayo sa gi-describe sa kuan. Sa question, layo ra gyud kaayo ni sila nga mga term. Next, in silvicultural practice, the treatment involved in cutting defective trees. Defective, tanggalon ang mga defective trees. It's like cleaning. So, the answer is sanitation cutting. Okay? Sanitation cutting. Next, the absence of uniformity in forestry considering their individual character or traits. Keyword is, or key phrase, absence of uniformity. Di siya uniform. So, meaning, mag-vary. The answer is variation. Okay? Variation. Next, systematic removal of individual not desired for the perpetuation of a population. So, saan na itawag ani po niya? As again, the rogging. It's not sanitation cutting. Katoday ganina. Naman din sanitation cutting is the rogging. So sa seed production area kuan tong mga inferior nga mga trees, no, imuhang gipang remove to siya. So that is rogging, not desired nga mga individuals. Next, tests established to determine breeding values of parents on the basis of the performance of their offspring. Again, progeny test, no, naghanang balik. Then, a part of a cell that harbor most of the genetic information necessary for the growth and development of the tree. Saman, part of the cell. The chromosome. Okay, the chromosome. Next, which of the following is the purpose of seed zoning? Basis for rational sampling for provenance trials? Check. Guide when transferring seeds for national planting programs? Check pod. Guide in establishing maximum geographic limits? Yes. So the answer is all of the above. Next, the initial individual that is vegetatively propagated to produce a clone. So ang imuhang source sa clone, unsa day na siya tawag? That is the ortet. Ang imuhang ramet, kung mag-clone na ka, ang imuhang buhaton na is a ramet garden. So, ang imuhang ortet mo na imuhang asa ka mother tree nimo ba asa ka gakuha nga para source nga para ma-clone nimo ang kana siya nga tanom or kana nga specific nga kahoy. Ang clone na din nimo ang tawag ana is ramet. It's not a pedigree, it's not plantlet. Ramet, clone na siya. Kanina siya mo na imuhang initial nga individual or source sa imuhang ramet, imuhang ortet. Okay? Next, the observed expression of a trait in an individual that is the result of developmental interaction of the individual's genotype and its operational environment. The answer is phenotype. Again, P is equals to G plus E. Sabton lang nimo ang question. Next, this refers to groups of population that generally interbreed with one another and that interbreed more or less continually. So, groups of population, no? Groups of population, nagagig population. So, answer ani kay the race, di ba? The race. Next, this refer to the condition wherein the average of the progeny is better than the average of the parents, is the heterosis. Condition ang iyahang gina-refer. Dili siya set of chromosomes. Heterosis. Okay? Next, trees that are obtained through vegetative propagation from 1 plus 3 and acquiring the same genetic characteristics are called clones. No? Trees that are obtained through vegetative propagation from 1 plus 3 and acquiring the same genetic characteristics are called the clones. Next, the trial planting to determine the growth potential of species of unknown origin. So, kani siya, trial planting daw para ma-determine ang growth potential niya, no? Growth potential sa isa ka species nga wala na ilan, no, kung aha siya gikan or unsay iyahang hadapit iyang provenance, no, or iyahang source. So the answer for this, determining the growth potential, so growth potential sa species, so ang trial ani is within species, no, kay i-determine man kay growth potential of species.